Hey sleepers, so today we're finally doing reacting to animated scary stories again. I haven't done this in a long time, and of course it's nighttime. I'm not watching during the day. The only time I'm watching it during the day is if I'm like playing a scary game, a real scary game by myself. Cause I'm not good. I can't play scary games by myself. Okay. 18 true terrifying horror stories animated. So all these things we're gonna be watching, it came from real perspectives, just animated. And I think the one I selected is the 18th one. I'll just check. I think it's the 10th one or 9th. I don't know. Let's see.
It was early December. I was at home this night, spending my day off inside by the fireplace. It was way too cold and snowy out for my liking. I did a bunch of things around the house that needed to get done, but otherwise, it was a relaxing day. I had the news running in the background, listening to how high winds and possible blizzards were to be expected starting tonight. By 5, I was already starting to notice it getting worse outside. I sat on the couch and turned on a different channel. Around 7 though, I could hear wind slamming against the house, and it really did sound like there was a blizzard. I got up and went to the window facing the backyard to see how it looked outside. At first, all I saw was snow rushing to the ground with almost no visibility. But then I saw something else. A figure walking through my backyard. My backyard was pretty...
That's when I would have got the... Bro, I'm not... You guys... You think I'm joking when I say when I move by myself, I'm getting a loaded... how do I say it? Machine? Because anybody... I swear, because people think because we're females, they underestimate us. I'm not going to try to yap too much in this video, but just because we're a female, don't make it estimate. You're going to ending up getting hurt if you think you can just prey on me. So that's all I gotta say.
Big and didn't have a fence, so it wouldn't have been that unexpected if it weren't for the blizzard going on outside. Whoever was out there was just walking at a regular pace, going toward the end of my yard, before the snow and darkness took over any sight I had of them. I stayed by the window for a minute, trying to catch one more look and figure out what they were doing, but I didn't see anything. I was honestly scared for them, but also couldn't see why they'd be out there at all.
Why are you still...
The end of my yard that they were walking to led to a road, but it wouldn't get them anywhere for miles, which was not doable on foot. I went back to the TV, but I still couldn't help thinking about it. And only 5 minutes later, there was a knock at the door.
Don't answer.
I went over and cracked it open. It was a man in a heavy winter jacket.
Fuck no. Bro. First of all, do always look to the people when you look someone knocks at the door. And if I were to see that, I'm getting my machine gun and I'm not opening the door. And if they start tweaking, I'm gonna start shooting because you're on my property and I can do whatever I want. It's called self-harm, guys, but you can do stuff, yeah.
His nose was bright red, and his face was pale white, like he'd been out in the cold for a while. I couldn't know if this was the same person I'd seen in my backyard, but my immediate guess was that it was.
I thought that was a mask.
"How can I help you?" I asked. The man let out a humble smile and spoke through shaking teeth that he was waiting for a ride to pick him up, and asked if he could stay in my house for a few minutes to shelter from the cold, just until the ride got here.
No, stay out there.
I took a moment to respond, because I actually considered it, given the state of the weather. It's easy to say that under no circumstance would you let a random man inside your house, but when they're practically freezing to death on your doorstep and asking for your help, the answer on what to do isn't as black and white.
Okay, you gotta wonder.
I told him he could wait on my porch, which had an overhang that blocked the snow, and offered to give him an old jacket of mine if he needed it. The man didn't look too happy, but just nodded and went off to the side and sat on the chair I had out there. I closed and locked the door, then went upstairs to grab my old jacket. It was way too big for me and was in horrible condition, but obviously that shouldn't matter in this kind of scenario. I picked it up and walked downstairs, about to unlock the door and open it, but something stopped me just a moment before. I don't know what it was, but it made me hesitate. I leaned over and looked through the peephole. The man was now standing right up against the door with his hand on the handle, like he was preparing to push it open as soon as I unlocked it.
See, that's why you looked out. That's why you looked through the peephole, bro. Bro, out of all the things I watched so far, this is the only real person. Maybe because it's a true story and it's nonfiction. It's the only real person on the scene. Everyone's been dumb and letting people go inside. This is the only real person that has been thinking through this whole series. Like, literally. Thank you. Don't open the door. And if you do, that's on you.
I felt my heart rate increasing as I took a couple steps back and quietly pulled my phone out to dial 911. As I whispered into the phone, I just stared at the door with wide eyes, knowing what was waiting for me on the other side. Once the police said they were on their way, I slowly crept over and looked out again. The man wasn't there, not on my porch or anywhere in my front yard. He was just gone, like he knew that I had called the police. Nothing else was found that night, and no signs of him ever showed up again. What he would have done if I had opened the door, I can't be sure of, but hopefully he never comes back.
Move out. I'm moving out. It looks like you're in the middle of nowhere. You know what? The video ain't at 10 minutes, so we're gonna watch it.
I do deliveries from local Papa John's. I'm in college, so this is just one of the few jobs I could choose from. A few of my friends work here too, but we're all delivery drivers, so even when we have the same shifts, we don't really see each other.
Yo, Domino's over Papa John's.
Anyway, this happened to me last December while I was picking up some extra shifts before Christmas. This night, it was snowing a good amount, making deliveries take longer than usual, while also getting more deliveries than usual. I was never too stressed about work, though having to go non-stop for hours on end was definitely not as enjoyable.
You think?
At 9:30, I grabbed my next set of orders to deliver and got in my car to get the directions up. I had 2 orders, and the houses were just 5 minutes from each other, but they were both pretty far from the shop.
You gotta get that back.
They were 15 minutes away, which was more like 25 minutes in this weather. The first part of the drive was normal, but then it began taking me toward the less visited part of town. The houses here were older, and most of the shops in the area had closed. Nobody ever came around here unless—
I don't know if it's just me, but if I'm doing a job and it's just like very, very sketchy on one area, I simply am not like, I'm not gonna risk my life. Like, I would rather be safe than sorry. Like, if I'm alone somewhere, someone sketchy, like, I'm not saying I'll judge a book by its cover or anything, but like, I will. Like, in daily occasions when I'm not alone, I won't. But when I'm alone, I'm judging a book by its cover because I'd rather really be safe than sorry. I'm like, honestly, anyone. If I'm alone and like, anyone, I'm just out of there. Because I hate being like, when I'm alone, that someone just comes in creepily. Like, no.
Once I got to the first address, I parked on the road and walked up to the front door. A kind old man answered the door and paid for the pizza.
Okay.
Then I went back and set the directions for the next house. It was in the same neighborhood, but I realized as I drove that it was taking me deeper into the neighborhood, to the point where there were less houses and more space between them. By the time I got to the address, I couldn't see any other houses around. It was just trees surrounding the area.
This guy got no survivors.
Again, I parked on the street and walked up to the front door. I knocked and waited patiently on the porch. It was pretty cold out though, and the snow making my clothes soaked wasn't helping. Finally, after a minute, the door opened. It was a middle-aged woman who looked like she'd just—
Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm telling you. People, like, I truly, really promise you that this man is like, oh, it's a woman. I ain't got nothing to worry about. Like, anyone can be crazy, bro. Anyone. Like, I'm serious. Be careful.
woken up. Her hair was messy, and she had tired, emotionless eyes. "I have your order here for 2 pizzas," I said, holding out the boxes and giving her the total to pay. She took the boxes and placed them on the table next to her, then told me to wait a moment for her to get cash. Another minute went by before they opened the door again. She started sifting through some cash, counting it slowly and trying to add it all up. There was definitely something weird about her. It's hard to pinpoint what it was exactly, but everything she was doing was just very odd. Then, as if she wasn't struggling enough on counting the cash, she started up small talk with me. Normal stuff, like how my day was and all that. I responded politely, but it was just really weird, like she was stalling.
Like, give me my money, bro.
At some point while she was talking, I looked back at my car just to distance myself from the uncomfortable situation for a moment, but I was quick to see a man standing right next to it. He was looking in the windows and doing something to the door, but when I looked back at the woman, her face had shifted into anger. I figured it all out too late though, as she reached out and grabbed me, then started yelling to the man by my car.
Use your strength.
He turned around and started sprinting towards us as the woman tried to pull me into the house. I pushed her away and broke free. Then my instincts took hold of me and I sprinted into the trees. I could hear the man's heavy footsteps crunching in the snow behind me all the way through the forest, until finally they started to fade away. After 2 minutes of sprinting, I stopped to catch my breath.
I would've kept running.
Luckily, the moon was lighting up the forest enough for me to navigate through it and back to one of the streets in the neighborhood. I called 911 once I got service, and after 10 minutes of waiting in the cold, an officer arrived. Another patrol car went to the house, finding the man outside in the act of trying to break into my car. To keep things from dragging on, basically the motive was likely due to the couple running out of money and resorting to robbing my vehicle. The whole distraction was so that the man could rob my car without me ever knowing, but since I saw what he was doing, it's not really clear what they would have done. Maybe they would have just let me go, but it's obvious I would have reported them, so I don't think it's likely they would have.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful for getting away unharmed, and for being the first victim they tried it on before getting arrested, and never having the chance to do anything to anyone else.
That's crazy. If you're gonna do that, at least get your pocket skills up, because you were weak as hell and it took you a long ass time. Also, I wanted to watch one more, but I don't think I have time to, because I have to do something, like, you know, tomorrow, and I have to go to sleep early. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video here, and I'm gonna post a back to school video soon when school starts. It's next week. And yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep, sleepers. See you soon. Peace.